I now would like to invite Stockton Fire Captain Ryan Hoskinson to the stage.
Oh, mackerel. It's on. Good morning, everyone. They said my name a couple times today. I'm Ryan Hoskinson. First, I'd just like to say thank you again to everybody for being here. Most of you don't even know Max Fortuna, and you're all here supporting the Stockton Fire Department and the Fortuna family. So thank you very much for being here. Chief Johnson and Chief Edwards, they already said it all. They took it all from me. They pretty much summed up Max for you. He was definitely holier than most of us. He loved his family very much, and he was a very, very, very proud fireman. I worked with Max for the last 10 years. What's up? Oh no, I'm good. Give me a little room. Give me room. Give me room. Give me room. Give me room. Come on. Give me room. Jeez, Louise. Max wouldn't like that. I drove for Maxie for 7 years on engine 2. You heard engine 2 a bunch today. I really don't want to sugarcoat the whole thing, but it's pretty much engine 2 or nothing. So Maxie was about engine 2. Yeah, I don't have a speech or anything. I couldn't put this into words, so I just figured I'd just come up here and just tell you a little bit more about Max, which I've done with everybody here all week. I got so many good stories about him. Some of them are just some goofy things he did at the firehouse, and other times they're about goofy things he did somewhere else. Max liked to have fun. Everybody's talked about his seriousness. Max was very mischievous. You see, Max would get to work in the morning and he'd be up to tricks right out of the gate, you know. The second Max would get out of his truck in the morning, you didn't know what was going to happen. He might throw something at you. He might drop some stuff on the ground. He did a lot of silly things, but every time he was around, you felt good. Max loved playing handball at the firehouse. It's kind of like the highlight of a lot of the shifts. And one of my favorite things about the daytime with Max is that everything in the morning was business, just so we could hurry back, to get back for lunch early, get into our handball game, get our PT in. And a lot of guys that play with Max remember Max was a great commentator too. Even if you win or lose, he'd like to commentate the game and everybody else. And by commenting, I mean every time somebody else made a mistake, he'd like to make fun of him and laugh at him. And he made us all laugh too when he did that. Max would take a couple of games to warm up, and then he always had this little sidearm fadeaway fist. He was like 500 with that, which is Hall of Fame numbers. At twos, it wasn't that great, but Maxie loved it, and we loved to see Maxie whack that thing like that. Max didn't have any enemies in the fire department. There's nobody he didn't like. Some people, he had high standards, and he really liked the guys that were able to meet those standards. The guys that didn't meet those standards, he just found a way to let those guys know tactfully that they weren't there yet and that he'd be more than happy to help get them there. And he did it in different ways. So he teased some of them, and that's how you knew he liked you. If he teased you a lot, he probably didn't like you as much, but he still teased you. And if he teased you even more than that, then you're probably not here anymore now. So thank you. Yeah. In regards to Max being a leader, you heard all these things about Max being a leader. You see, Max is right here. You get it? He can hear us. He loved everything about the fire service, but more than anybody, Max, he loved going to fires. We get in that rig, and we take off like crazy. He loved coming out of the barn quick on a fire. And not one time did Max ever say slow down. He was willing to risk it all, knowing that he might get there and make a difference. We went to a lot of good fires, and we went to a lot of fires with everybody out here. Over this week, everybody's told the story about a fire when they were with Max, and he did something that was just amazing. I loved going to a fire with Max, and I think my favorite thing Max used to say, which you don't get to say all the time, was just hold off on the repeat. And when Maxie said hold off on the repeat, right, everybody knew, right? You got a working fire here, we're getting close, and Maxie's there. And we're driving quick, and Maxie let everybody know, hold off on the repeat. And I'm driving, not paying attention, and maybe looking at Max, just watching him, admiring Maxie over there. And yeah, he was smooth. And then we get there, and he was never once afraid. Not afraid at all. And when you follow Max, you weren't afraid either. You trusted him, you followed him, and he never led us astray. Yeah, he was great. Hey, Max is great. There's no way that I'll ever be Max like him, as good as him, and nor will anybody else here. But we're going to try hard, and we're going to try hard the whole time to be as good as you, Maxie. I think in conclusion, Max loved the Stockton Fire Department, and he loved Company 2, he loved Engine 2. Until the very end, he was kicking ass like he always did, every single time. Maxie, we're going to honor you forever, and we're going to honor you in many ways. Anybody here that knew Max, worked a day with Max, we're all so lucky to have those memories. To honor Max, let's just keep sharing these stories, talking about how great Max was. I never wanted to let Max down, so I always worked as hard as I could to make him proud. And I'm happy now because Max knows that we love him. We know Max loves us, and Max will always be with us. We got you, Max.